Let me just double check here that you can see me, no sound. Okay. Right, let's go. Let's go. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let me double check. Test 1, 2. Right, let's go. Let's go. All right. Yes. Now, there we go. We have it. My goodness. I'm bad. I need a tech guy here behind the scenes for the live streams, because I'm very, very bad, as you know, with, basically the microphone, the music and everything. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying, we are going to be taking a look at the price of Bitcoin, technical analysis. Nobody knows what comes next. Okay. You can have an increase of probabilities as you have the new price action developed, but nobody knows exactly what is the next move for Bitcoin, right? We can map the situation based on how the price action has developed with new price action, and then come to the next conclusion, right? Okay, I was feeling a little bit more bearish here. Now I'm feeling a little bit more bullish. Now a little bit bearish, now bullish. Because of the new price action and levels that are hit, you come to the conclusion what could be next. As a day trader, I flip-flop between bullish and bearish every single day based on the local price action. Now, I didn't get such a good comment on the previous video that I did create yesterday, because one of these classic comments which says not a single crypto YouTuber knows what's going to happen next. Not even YouTuber, not even technical analyst, not even the best traders in the world know what's going to happen next. But we understand what are the levels. Okay, I have a basic understanding of chart analysis, guys, and I do share it here on the channel. You take it as you want, but we share levels. We share the possible levels that could bounce or get resistance, and understand the next projected move based on the bounce or the resistance that happens. We don't know if it's going to go up or down. We know our levels as support and resistance. And the previous video was the best example, right? Because I do talk about the pump and the levels of resistance, and the dump and the levels of support, right? And the previous video update is the best example. The first level to bounce as support, if we were to move down, is the $82,500 range to sweep up this low right over here. And I can give you that example right now as we are speaking, right? This level right over here was purely based of the fixed volume profile of the range that we formed the last week, basically, right? Just a quick little example, guys, for any newcomers, all right? Nobody knows what the heck is going to happen next, but we know levels of support and resistance and possible projected moves, either to the upside or to the downside, where we can take advantage with good risk management. That's all it takes, right? So let's just do the quick example for, I don't get much of these comments, guys, but it's very good to answer them, especially on a live stream, because people have questions, right? People are like, oh, I just looked at your, people want to see either it's going to go up very strongly or it's going to go down. It's bearish, guys. 100% we're going down from here. Absolutely not, guys. We are, a technical analyst. We look for day trading opportunities. Can we trade today, tomorrow, right? What are the levels of interest, right? So on the previous video, eventually I do get these comments, right? I do get them, right? Because I talk about, yeah, if we bounce, we're going to, these are the interesting levels. If we go down now, and then it's like, you don't know if it's going to go up or down. Well, eventually not, guys. Nobody knows, right? However, we do know the levels, and the first level to get a reaction swing failure pattern was this higher low that was created on Friday. And we were trading right over here when I did create the video. As I was uploading the video, we were actually getting the movement down. Okay, so the movement down was created, and the first level of support to get a reaction bounce was the $82,500, the higher low here that was created on Friday, which is the point of control of the range of the last week, and the 50% Fibonacci, and it was a liquidity grab to get an instant bounce of $1,000, maybe $2,000. They actually got a bounce of $2,000, but regardless, it doesn't matter, right? Because value area high could have provided resistance, which you could have taken profit, right? It's all level to level. So it's all about levels of support beneath us and the levels of resistance above us, and also the projected moves. This is why we use a lot of Fibonacci extensions, Elliott wave theory to give us that projection. And surprise, surprise, the first level to bounce was this one right over here, the first level of support. Of course, we had other ones, but the first one was this one right over here. And the price bounced at that level. It bounced at this level, right? Okay, I mean, this is just for this comment, guys. I know a lot of legit followers are like, yeah, who cares about that comment? I just like to say, hey, you're probably new to the channel, or you don't know what the heck is going on here, because when we trade levels, and we trade level to level, right? So it just, it just makes me sad, because it seems like people do not understand. But anyway, I'm here to explain and explain to you, right? Explain to you why. Anyway, let's forget about that. Let's focus on the technical analysis, guys. I just wanted to give that explanation from the previous video. I always go through previous videos and say, well, this didn't happen, or this did, or right? We always do that, guys, because, I want to be legit, and I want to see the viewers. I want the viewers to see basically what we are talking about, right? Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section and say hello to the different people here in the live stream. Okay, I want to say a quick hello, and as people are joining, as you are smashing the like button, I do have a blank chart like always, guys, because we're going to build up together. I'm going to be reading comments, of course, your personal opinion. Are you feeling bullish? Do you think a short squeeze could be building up? We all know about that big whale that's shorting over $300 million worth of, shorts, right? That have entered the market, and I think his liquidation is around about 86.1 or 85.5, somewhere in this region, right? And it doesn't really matter, okay? That it's not much of a big deal. All of us together, and all of the people together, move billions of dollars every single day trading, okay? So a 300, it's only one entity with 300 plus million. It's not really much a big deal. There's billions of dollars of longs and shorts every single day, right? So there's not really much, something to really take into consideration. It is true that we do have quite a bit of liquidity above $85,000, and that's what I want to talk about, based on this new price action that was created throughout the last 24 hours. Okay, so, very interesting wick here that we had on Sunday. Lots of people are speculating that this was some other entities, not going to give some names here, but they are trying to get that short squeeze from this other entity that's in a short position, right? So we know that person a few days ago was shorting the market, okay? And apparently this movement to the upside are some other entities that are trying to liquidate him, right? I don't know if that is true or not, guys, but anyway, it's just kind of entertainment, right? A bit of entertainment here on the charts, right? Some other big whales are trying to, squeeze him out because he has his liquidity, right, above 85K, which is just interesting facts, right? Interesting stuff that we can talk about. We're going to go through more techie stuff, guys, all right? We're going to go more in detail of, what are the different scenarios, because this has been very disturbing for me. We had a three-wave move up, which is, you got the high, you got the low, and you got the high right over here. Is this enough right now? Has this been the corrective structure and we're just ready to roll down? Well, it's very disturbing what we've developed here, and I want to explain right away. With that wick, it's kind of a little bit broken, a little bit of the structure. And I am leaning on the side that, this could actually be a bit impulsive, and this could also be a little bit impulsive. And based on this new price action, it does look a little bit corrective, okay? I would have wanted to see the price, leading the way here with lower highs and like leading a little bit of a downtrend. Of course, it was the weekend, so what can we say, right? This volatility came out throughout Sunday. But regardless, the charts are the charts, and I want to explain this move on this live stream, okay? So make sure to destroy the like button. We're going to wait for some people to join. Okay, we're just under 500 people watching. Not sure if we'll get to the 1,000. Not too much volatility. People are bored, right? But we'll be going through the technical analysis. Most importantly, the levels, guys. What levels are interesting on Bitcoin, right? What are the levels that we are waiting for? All right, either for a short or for a long. And remember, these are day trades. There are movements of $1,000 to $2,000. If we want those moves of $10,000, we haven't been having them for the last few weeks, okay? We haven't had any big major swings. So movements of $1,000 to $2,000, you know, they're nice little quick scalp day trade setups. So we're going to talk about the different ones that could happen, just like the one yesterday, right? First level to bounce, we got it right over here. We actually bounced $2,000. So you got a nice little long trading level right there that did happen based on yesterday's update. You get in and you get out. Remember, guys, you know, these are little day trades. We're not looking here for this to be the low and go to 90K. Come on, guys. Let's stay real. We've been ranging here. Very boring range for the last few weeks. Little bounce, little uptrend, very rangy. So it's level to level trading. Let's go through comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Let's go, Philip. How are you doing? Jorge, crazy price action. We got a little bit of volatility. There was a bit of news today. Retail sales, which was lower than expected. We actually got a dump and pump, and now a little bit of a dump as well. A little bit of local volatility, nothing too serious, but a little bit crazy. That is true, because we haven't got a proper trend, right? We haven't got a proper breakout. We haven't got a proper movement down. It's just very up and down and up, very locally. So yes. Please use subtitles. I am Korean. Okay, I will look to do that, my man. Much love to you. Afif, let's go, man. Bolo, hello. Alex, no sound. Okay, this was the no sound issue. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Karim, no sound again. Yeah, I'm awful. I'm ever so sorry. I'm so bad. Background music is on, yeah, but the microphone was not on. So, yes. 𝗲𝗚 clown. I'm not sure if that is for me or for the guy that commented. I'm in my doubt right now if that is for me or it's for the people, you know, that person that commented down on the previous video, which is, you know, we just look at the levels, guys. You know, nobody knows what's going to happen next. He says crypto YouTubers. I say, you know, even the best traders know what's going to happen next. So never mind crypto YouTubers. What's up, me? How are you doing? Not sure. Technical conquistador from Portugal. From Spain, my man. Daniel Singleton, very long follower, my man, from the channel. How are you doing, brother? Hope all is well with you and your family and your loved ones. 𝗬𝗎𝘂𝗿𝗫, don't be sad. We love you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I really like to, you know, face these comments, right? And people that actually have the questions, right? Andy, ignore the dumb comments. Thank you very much, my man. Yes, I try to, okay? But I try to be as legit as possible. My trading strategy is to watch Andy's TA, says Payne. Thank you very much, my man. I'm not the best TA guy on YouTube or in the, of course, you know, very far away. But I do understand it. It's been many years right now. And we try and come to the conclusion on the different projections, right? It's very, very hard to come with very, very high probability setup, especially for day trading, which is obviously, you know, comes a little bit more complex than swing trades, right? You know, for swing trading, you know, I could just go on the live stream and say, guys, you know, for a swing long position, we're a little bit too late for a swing short position, right? Because I do think that a significant bounce is possible regardless from here or testing the lows and then up. So yeah, keeping it simple. Test of the lows of $76,000 is an awesome swing long position, because I do believe that a major bounce of possibly over $10,000 is just very, very likely, right? So that is basically it. The swing trade long position is actually claiming down $76,000. Whether we hit 74 or 72, doesn't matter. This is an awesome swing long level, okay? I do think that a major bounce would happen if we do come and test these lows. There is a really nice, I need to give a shout out to 𝗬𝗏𝘆𝗽 here, a really nice possible projection here on an ABC where, you know, we are basically, you know, we formed an expanding 5-wave down here, and then this is the correction, very, you know, very sideways, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a contracting move to then get an epic bounce. And this is after testing the lows, and it's important to get back above those lows, right? If we break down and we maintain beneath this level, it could be a capitulation phase, guys. Okay, so this is very important to understand. It is important to see proof of support and price action developing above this low right over here with a couple of daily candles even. This is the daily chart, right? And then to, you know, talk about that swing long, stop loss beneath the low created, entry zone round about this area, and look for a significant recovery, right? That's easy, right? Swing trade. This is a swing long position. Will we get down there or not? Well, who knows, right? But that would be an epic swing long position. So that's it, guys. That's the content for today. Goodbye. Thanks for joining the live stream. We talked about the swing long position, right? And that's it. Absolutely not, guys. We're here to look for, you know, very complex day trading, right? Scenarios. And that's what we do best. That's what I want to believe. That's why I like to really analyze the local structure of the last few days, the last few hours, and what could happen next. So enough talk. Okay, hello to everybody. Please TA on 𝗬AI. We can talk about some altcoins later on. But yeah, we're getting some people joining. We're getting the live stream absolutely banging. Lots of likes. Brandy, my man, much love to you. Imagine if he turns off the stream, yeah, just because of that swing long, right? Just test the lows, right? And then, you know, we're looking for, because there's, without a doubt in my mind, we have a lot of people interested in buying Bitcoin below the lows, right? When you create this choppiness at the lows and you do not capitulate, there is some buying activity going on here, right? So if we were to come down to test those lows, you know, there is a high chance that there is a lot of buying interest below 76, whether it's 76, 74, right? It's not a moment to become fearful. It's an opportunity area, especially if you trade back above the lows, right? So there's no doubt in my mind that this would be an epic swing long position area, guys. You know, don't believe the crap of oh my goodness, we're going to go to 50K, which it could, but it's all understanding the reaction, right? If we react to this level and we trade back above it, it's going to be looking pretty damn good for a nice recovery. So anyway, let's focus on the lower time frames, okay? Most importantly, what has been going on throughout the last 24 hours, right? This kind of choppy price action. Because first of all, let's go through a scenario that I was leaning on throughout the last few days, okay? Last few days was leaning on, you know, this actually looks a bit bearish. We got a first wave here. We got the corrective wave right over here. And then we got this movement up. Would have been nice to see a little bit of a higher level, okay, just for that short swing failure pattern from the highs, right? Liquidity grab would have been the ideal level, right? But regardless, we created the high. We started chopping beneath the lows right there, okay? So yeah, could we come to the conclusion that maybe this was it, right? For a simple reason, it's a three-wave corrective structure in an ABC, or potentially the more complex one in that WXY that we mentioned throughout the last few days. So, you know, this, you know, I am leaning on, yeah, you know, this is very possible. This is very possible that this was the end, right? However, we got into the weekend, a lot of ranging, this movement down, then this movement up, very choppy, very confusing, right? So now we need to come up with, okay, what are the different scenarios, right? I hate this price action, I have to say. I really hate this price action. It would be nice to just, you know, follow through here, get the bounce, and, you know, and then look for the follow through. Okay, guys, this is starting to look bearish, right? Bounces are going to be looking good for a fourth wave, then a fifth wave. It's never easy, right? It's never easy. What I understand about this movement that happened, okay, and just to keep it simple for the guys that hate Elliott wave theory, just to keep it a little bit simple, we are actually holding the point of control of this, you know, large range that we formed the last week, right? Last week we did form a little bit of a range. Let's see if it loads here. My goodness, having some issues here with the fixed volume profile loading. Come on. There we go. Right? it is trying to break down from this high volume node area, right? It is trying to break down from that high volume node. So far, it is doing a pretty good job just testing the lows, not managing to break, getting the bounces. Okay, so we are holding this area pretty nicely, the point of control of the range of last week. But do I see something bearish here? Do I see a bearish possibility? What are the levels to bounce? Holy moly, let's get something ready, guys. I hope that I can organize this well enough to for it so it could make sense, okay? If I am considering that this is a 3-wave move finished, okay, we have a problem. We have a slight problem here to the downside. What is the main problem of this price action? We are not moving down aggressively. When we compare this movement to the upside to this movement right over here, what is going on, legends? What is going on, right? We know that a nice trend moves with a solid impulse and correction. Solid impulse and correction. Solid impulse, right? And to the downside, the same thing, right? You have a movement down, boom, pretty aggressive, correction, whatever happens, right? Bit of volatility, and then bang, right? Same scenario, boom, right? We are just focusing here on what's happening locally. We can see that the leading move, all right? Yes, I understand, guys, okay? I understand that we are in a brutal downtrend for the last few weeks, even the last few months, all right? So yeah, you might say, hey, dude, zoom out because we are downtrending. Well, then I can say, well, I'm going to zoom out even more to the daily time frame. And I'm going to say, look, this is bullish still, right? So, I mean, it depends on what time frame. And as I'm a day trader and I focus on local trends and local possibilities, well, on the weekly, you might think, hey, this is still bullish. This is still bullish, right? You would expect the price to shoot up at some stage. Whether it's going to succeed or not, you would come to the conclusion that this still looks pretty corrective. If you zoom out on the 4-hourly time frame, then you know that you're in a pretty brutal downtrend for several weeks right now. So yeah, I get that. We are downtrending. And this is why, we was focusing on this local move to say, hey, maybe this is it, right? Maybe this is it, and we're going to roll down, right? We've got a 3-wave move. That is enough. Not breaking very successfully above the highs. It's about time to test the lows below 76K. I understand that. I've been leaning to that scenario for the last few days. However, more locally, we are uptrending, right? We are uptrending, and we need to give the bulls a chance. We need to give the bulls a chance because we have been uptrending for the last few days. Regardless the massive downtrend of the last several weeks and months, right? Couple of months. Price is uptrending for the moment. And I've been studying the scenario here of this being a corrective structure. Okay, guys, we got a high, we got a low, we got a high. This is the time, right? It's about time to get those strong impulsive moves to the downside. But we had an event yesterday which got a major wick to the upside. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem for the bearish movement, which increases the probability that the price can create a higher low and claim $85,000 plus. Why, you may ask? Because of this movement. This broke the chart. It broke the possibility of an aggressive downtrend. Why? Well, for any simple technical analysis reason, you broke the lower high trend, right? You broke the lower high trend with this move. That would be a basic reason, right? But also, when you talk about Elliott wave analysis theory, if you are considering here a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, you want your wave 3 to be aggressive, and you want a wave 4 formation that does not overlap your wave 1 and continues to the downside. The aggressive move that happened here bounced at the level of support that we mentioned on yesterday's video update, and it broke, okay, the lower highs. So regarding of a start of an impulse to the downside has been broken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is no longer a possibility. It was a very three-wave move, I have to say, because you have your, your possible one wave right over here, and then all of this corrective. I mean, you could arguably discuss it was a bit of a contracting move. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you got a bit of a one wavy move here. Then you got your second wave right over here, and then your next wave right over here, right? Just keeping it simple, eliminating a bit of the noise on the lower time frame. Just going to keep it simple with the drawing, right? Bang, bang, bang. This looks very much corrective as after this wick to the upside. When you check this wick to the upside, this looks corrective compared to this movement to the upside. I'm sorry. It was because of this movement up. So I need to lean on the side of, okay, this actually could be impulsive, corrective, just because of that wick on Sunday that we had yesterday to the upside. This breaks a little bit of the structure. And now your question is, hang on a minute. We did create another low though. We did create another low. So what's going on, right? We did not manage to form a higher low here. This was not an ABC move. But now is when I zoom in ever so slightly to the lower time frames and I analyze this movement to the upside. This movement to the upside did not claim the highs, and we hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, above the 0.88 Fibonacci. When we get above the 0.88 Fibonacci, we start thinking of flats. We start thinking of possible flat corrections, okay? As soon as you get above the 0.88 Fibonacci from a three-wave structure, you start thinking of, okay, we could claim the lows and get a bounce possibly above $85,000. So you need to start thinking on the probabilities for the bulls right over here based on this movement to the downside. It doesn't look impulsive to the downside. It's been broken because of this Sunday pump. We've hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, which is rare for a wave 2, but also we have formed a three-wave structure. So the only scenario that comes up to my mind after this three-wave structure for the moment is either a contracting move to the downside or an expanding move to the downside. It doesn't matter. What do I mean by this? Where you have a three-wave move, and there is a three-wave move here, guys. Okay, I will explain this little three-wave move to the upside. But then you're looking at a three-wave here, and then a three-wave here, and then a three-wave here to maybe form a very, very dodgy, right, contracting move to the downside. We never talk about this scenario unless we have the low here and we have the possible fourth wave. Contracting moves is really speculating on we're going to move down and then up, right? Once we have this movement, then we can start talking about this, right? If we move down here and we bounce and we reject here, then we can start talking about this descending wedge, right? Contracting move to the downside. But until we do not have that low and that lower high, it just becomes massive speculation, right? It would be silly for me to say this is the next move, right? Because I don't know. But if we were to form this, we can analyze the next projections, either this one down and even this one to the upside, right? If we had this spot right over here, we understand what could be next. This and this, right? This is highly predictable movement once you have this low and this lower high. As we don't have that, we are not going to talk about it. Well, we talked about it right now. So, but, you know, we're not going to be going through the stream on the levels and everything. You know, this will develop in the next 24 hours if it does. And then we can talk about the projections on the next video update or the live stream. Now, as that is my only conclusion based on the bearish move, and of course this would be bearish, right? If you form a low and then another low and then you get the bounce, and then you would expect the movement down like a rollover. You would be forming a kind of a head and shoulder, right, movement, something like this, right? And you would end up rolling down. It could be the case, but it's the only strong bearish case that comes to my mind. So with that theory, I am leaning to the side that we will not break down very aggressively throughout the next 24 to 48 hours, okay? I am leaning on that kind of prediction, right? This is a prediction. It's highly unlikely that the price will move down aggressively with a capitulation phase, right? Down to, say, $8,000, right? You know, just have a strong movement down. And the main reason why was because of this pump. It has broken the possibility of having a strong projection to the downside, a strong projection. We could still go down eventually with that contracting move, but it won't be as strong. So let's talk about the levels where the price could bounce if we were to get a movement down, right? I'm only leaning on a possible expanding move to the downside, right? With a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it could be choppy, but we're going to get some bounces, or a contracting move. These are the only two very bearish case scenarios that I do see happening in the next 24 to 48 hours. Right? I don't see a capitulation happening. So as I understand that it is highly unlikely that we go down to $76,000 in a straight line between today and tomorrow, I understand the levels where the price could bounce. And this is why you are here. This is why we are here. I don't know if we're going to go down or up. I know where the price could very likely bounce. Very likely. Okay, and that's where I am interested in a possible long position. I understand that the price could pump from here, guys. Okay, this is also a scenario purely based on another structure that I want to talk about, right, on the lower time frame. But we kind of build up different projections. Okay, so let's just imagine that the price moves down from here in the next coming hours, which there is a chance it might not, which I will explain later on. But let's just imagine, okay, whatever nonsense you're talking about, because nobody knows what's going to happen next, we get the movement down, right? We move down pretty aggressively out of nowhere, right? Now, in the next coming hours, what are the levels where the price could bounce, right? And why could it bounce at that level? Well, this is what we're doing, guys. This is what we're doing, right? Let's first of all get the fixed volume profile from the entire range of the last, 7 days, right? Give or take. We have value area low, interesting, which is slightly above the lows created of last Thursday. Not much of a level, to be honest, but, nice to have on the chart. I like this area. I like this zone above this low. Not because of the value area low. We can just add it as a, possible confluence. Do we have any daily levels, any weekly levels? Well, let's take a look. Daily, weekly, yes, we do. We had a weekly close yesterday. Now we go to the weekly chart and we analyze here the weekly time frame, and we can see last week we closed ever so slightly in the green, right? We closed ever so slightly in the green. The previous week was devastating. It was one of the largest, red week candles that we've had for many months on Bitcoin. Look at this. This was devastating. Very bad week, right? As we do have those that close and open from last week, we created a weekly level. Weekly levels are important, guys. They are important. Let's see one of the previous weeks where we did get a reaction. Oh, I can see one right over here. Look at this weekly close and this weekly open. What happened right over here? We got a perfect reaction from that weekly level. So weekly levels are important, guys. Look at this. Weekly close, weekly open. We actually rejected, right? The first week of February from that weekly. I'm not sure if we actually slightly front-runned it, but yeah, no, we did hit it. Okay, let's just zoom in. Look at this. That weekly level, the price action, tapped it, right? So weekly levels are important, legends, right? We know that. They are important to consider as resistance or as support. We got a new fresh one. We got a new fresh one down here at $80,700. We actually got a daily level as well, right? We got a daily level, okay, from a few days ago, right over here. We like daily levels as well. They're also important, not as important as the weekly, but they are important if you do have other confluence to add to them. So let's zoom in and analyze that weekly and that daily level, right? I hope that you can see me, legends, and hear me very well. I'm just going here through the stream. Okay, so let's analyze that right away. Okay. Let's talk about the possibility, right? For the moment, I like it. It's a zone of interest, 80,700 to 81,000, right? I like this area. We got a daily and a weekly. I like this zone. This zone becomes important. This zone becomes important. And as I understand, based on this price action that we formed yesterday, invalidating the possibility of a strong impulse capitulation to the downside, I understand that that has been broken based on this movement that we had yesterday. I understand that the price could get a reaction bounce at a very strong level of support to either form that contracting move that I mentioned, right? Which would be like a, maybe a contracting move or expanding. It doesn't matter, guys. We need to have the lows and the lower highs, and then we can talk about it. But I understand that something like that could be forming on the movement down. So daily level and weekly level, very important zone. Very important zone, right? This is higher time frame. We'll zoom in on lower time frames later on. So first of all, I do not know if the price action is going to break down successfully from here in the next coming hours. But I do have a zone, and I do understand how the price could react based on the price action that we had yesterday on Sunday, right? It broke the possibility of a strong wave 2. We have a 3-wave move down here. We overlapped all of the lower highs from the weekend. So I understand that this is not a wave 1 and wave 2. The only reason, the only projection that we have is a contracting or an expanding move, okay, in a 5-waver to this area, right? Doesn't matter really exactly where, but I understand that a big breakdown is not unlikely going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so any movement down, I want to be ready for the reaction at these levels. First of all, we have the daily and the weekly. We do have the value area low of the trading zone of the last 7 days. That is sitting where the weekly level is, right? The daily level is slightly above us. Fibonacci retracement from the pivot low to the pivot high is sitting round about the daily. So we have a daily level with the 7/8 Fibonacci, and we have the weekly level with the value area low. Important zone where the price could very likely get a reaction bounce, okay? If the price, right, this is going to be a little bit of a day trade, swing trade, a little bit of a, yeah, it might take a day or two for that bounce to develop. But most commonly in a contracting move, if we are speculating that this is the high, well, we're not speculating, it is the high, right, of Friday, speculating on a contracting move or expanding, this is the low, this is the lower high, and, you know, possibly this could form a three-wave structure. Possibly it could form a three-wave move down. As we do understand that the most important zone of support is sitting at 81,000 to 80,600 between the daily and the weekly, what I like to see is the possible projection from this wave down and this wave up and the next wave down. We love projections, one-to-one extension, right? 1236 extension, very common for your C wave, right? 1.618 extension would be more for a third wave. Okay, so we're going to get Fibonacci extension from that wick high of Sunday to the movement down of Sunday to the current lower highs of today. One-to-one extension from pivot high to pivot low to the pivot high, right? The latest lower highs and lower lows that we've had, right, throughout the last 24 hours. This one, right? One-to-one extension is sitting where we have our level of confluence, daily, weekly, valley area low. And as I understand that it is unlikely that we will capitulate down because of yesterday's pump, invalidating the possibility of a wave 2, not only because of this three-wave structure, it's because we hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, which is very rare for a wave 2. Right, in an impulse, giving you a high probability for a contracting move, or this is still corrective, right? So, okay, we got that scenario, guys. We have a three-wave move down here, a three-wave move up here, and a possible three-wave move developing here. One-to-one extension, weekly level, daily level. I do not know if the price is going to come down there. Nobody knows. But if we do come down there, I am going to long this level. I am going to long this level. Okay, we're going to have to, you know, we'll give it a little bit of room. It could get a little bit punchy beneath the weekly, but the weekly can be treated as an SFP level or the daily, right? You might tap the daily, get beneath it, get above it. It's a possible long trigger. You might get the bounce then later on. Same with the weekly. You get below it, I'm not interested. We get above it, I'm interested. Stop loss is beneath the low. I'm looking for that nice little bounce of a few $1,000, $1,000 or $2,000. Nothing too major. Okay, but it's a nice day trade. I'm in and I'm out collecting profits. I'm not waiting for $100,000. That's probably not going to happen. So we're just looking for a small little movement to scratch some dollars off the market, guys. It's all about scratching dollars off the market. Don't have these, oh, you know, this might be the low, I'm going to hold all my position. No, guys, these are small little bounces and projections, because I do think that the price will come back down and test it based on the contracting move or the expanding move. It doesn't matter, right? But, you know, this is only local setup. This is only a local long setup. So, yeah, let's go right away through the target zones, right? Whether you do form a contracting move, right, or expanding, it doesn't matter. Contracting one or expanding, it might be expanding if it does fall today. If it falls a little bit, you know, between today and tomorrow, it could still be a contracting move. Regardless, right? It might be, you know, a third wave and then you get the bounce. This is very, very speculative, guys, of course. You don't know if it's going to be expanding or contracting. It doesn't matter. But regardless, it's the level to bounce. The target zones are very commonly the 618 to the 78 Fibonacci, okay? After a three-wave structure, most commonly you get to the 618, even to the 0.88 if you're forming a contracting move or an expanding move. So this bounce has a high probability to at least get to the golden pocket, maybe the 7.8, maybe the 0.88 from yesterday's wick high, because that will be the wave. This wave to the downside on a 3-wave movement, right? 3-wave starts from this pivot. And as a contracting move is developed by, for the moment with 3-wave structures, you can have 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, or you can have 3, 3, 3, 3. For the moment, we have in 3s possible movements. So the golden pocket from this pivot high to the pivot low, it might be the daily, it might be the weekly, would be the first target zone, which is where we have the point of control of this range. This is a big level, right? Big high volume node. So I know where the price could bounce with high probability, and I know where the price could reject with high probability. So I don't know what the heck is going to happen next, but I do know where the price could bounce based on mapping the scenario that could happen, right? And I know where the price could reject, meaning that I know exactly where I want to enter a long position, and I know exactly where I want to take profits. I know where I could be putting my stop loss. That is beneath the reaction after the movement lower. Okay, if you want to be a pro with risk management, you have to put it beneath the low of the fake out. Fake out of the weekly, you tap it, you get above it. I'm not sure if it's going to be $100 or $200. I will have my alerts down there and I will check, okay, if the wick is $100 or $200, and it doesn't matter. Once you get back above it, you got your stop loss beneath the fake out. That is how I create one trading plan. That's one trading plan right there. Regardless if the price action goes in circles for the next coming hours, this is a trading plan. It might pump from here. I don't know. We can talk about the levels of short, and we need to give the explanation behind it. And I'm explaining, number one, it's very unlikely. I don't know. We might capitulate down here, guys, and I'm totally wrong. I won't be getting wrecked because I won't be entering any long positions, right? I'm just letting the price action go beneath the levels of interest. But I understand that we are unlikely, no matter how aggressive this drop is. This is what happens, guys, right? We do have very, very strong movements, and everybody's like, oh my goodness, we're breaking. And then, wow, look at that bounce that happened out of nowhere. Well, we know why it could bounce, and we know how to trade it. Okay, so I love doing this from zero, guys, because I start with a blank chart and I try and explain the different scenarios. I have it already, but I want to go through and explaining it just so you can do it in the future, right? Analyzing the different waves and understanding why this and why that. So that is one scenario. Okay. I understand the bounce. And these comments, man, oh my goodness, they're crazy. They're crazy, these comments, because then what's going to happen if we do get down there and we do bounce, right? This will be a perfect, remember what we talked about yesterday, right? The level where we could bounce and the level where we are taking profits, and, obviously analyzing to get into a short position as well, because if we do come down there, I will be in my doubts already, of course, that this is looking corrective eventually, right? This will be looking a little bit bearish, we'll be retracing too much, we'll probably have an aggressive move down, and I would be leaning on the side of, we're forming either expanding or a contracting move here, which eventually will get some kind of bounce, but end up rolling down. It doesn't matter what it does, guys. There is a good trade here, and as mentioned, the moment, and this is important, guys, this is crucial to understand, because if you don't understand this, you are going to fail, right? It's just how it is. The moment the price action breaks down successfully beneath the daily or the weekly, the moment the price action continues trading beneath these levels is not a level and not a zone to be entering a long position. Okay? It's a zone where you do not want to enter that long position, because the daily level and the weekly is our guideline. That is our defensive line. These are the levels that we want the bulls to defend. And if they can manage to defend the levels, getting back above it, we will speculate on that possible bounce. Okay, a lot of the times when we hit these levels, it can get choppy, it can get very disturbing, where the price gets the reaction and then creates the double bottom locally, and that's like stopping all of the early long positions. And you know, this is why I love local double bottoms at these levels of interest, because I know they happen a lot, right? They kind of wick you out, and then the price does get the reversal. You know, we just need to be ready for that local double bottom possibility at these levels, because it does happen. It does happen a lot, and just be ready for a local double bottom. So yeah, I mean, that's one scenario here, legends. Okay, so let's go right away through some other scenarios. Of course, the price is managing to move down here very locally, right? Getting a bit of movements up and down locally. It seems like it's rolling over ever so slightly. I'm going through higher time frame scenarios first, then we can go through local time frame, okay? But I need a minute. I wouldn't be too important. I'm not going to give too much to the local time frame at the moment, right? Because we could drop $1,000 to $2,000 now in the next coming hours. We're coming down to our levels of interest, right? We got a plan here, and you know, I'm just be waiting for that plan. We get to the local scenarios right now, okay? This might take a day or 2 days, right? Maybe between today and tomorrow to get down here. We might not come down to this zone at 81,000, 80,600, right? Level of interest, there's a trading plan right there. Let's go to the other side, right? Because there are some local levels of support, guys. If we do have, of course, now in the next coming hours, I think it's more important to keep a little bit of the higher time frame perspective, just so we have time. I do think that one of the levels that we do mention today, right, on the live stream, could be hit later on tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow evening, but overall they are important. Of course, we talk about levels of support and levels of resistance locally. So at some point, we are going to get down here, or we are going to get up here. One of the two levels are going to be hit. Price is moving down now locally. We've got a bit of local volatility up and down, and now it looks like it's correcting down. Let's get this off the way. We don't need that. And let's talk about, yeah, we are losing this low. Would I say that this, hang on a minute, because would I consider a long here, SFP? Very choppy lower highs and lower lows right there. Very, very choppy. This could be a quick reaction. It is, you know, it was a sniper. Anybody that wanted to attempt this, it was a bit of a sniper long. Just tested these lows. You know what the price does, right? The price loves to test lows and loves to test highs. And this high was tested today. We got the rejection. And now this low has been tested. So we might get a little squeeze up, right? A little bit of an aggressive Aggressive, quick sniper long, guys. If you did not long the exact bottom, sorry about that, guys. I usually focus on the lower time frame, but yeah, we had to talk about higher time frame, but it was as a quick, you know, we were rolling down here throughout the last few minutes. This was a bit of a sniper long with a very, very tight stop loss. And there is a reason to believe that we might actually get a pretty decent bounce, okay, from here. I'll explain that reason right away. I will explain the reason why, but it's a sniper trade, guys. You know, these are the kind of trades that, sure, we're coming down right now. Your stop loss looks incredibly small. You would want to see the price recovering pretty nicely. I'm a little bit concerned of a double 1-2 here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, what is very interesting about this movement is we had a three-wave move down, a very three-wave move up, because you got a high, you got a low, and you got a high right over here, and you got a, this is very three-wavy as well. And this could, without a doubt, be a bit of an expanding contracting move. I'm a little bit concerned, without a doubt, purely based on this move. This is getting very interesting. Very, very interesting and complex, because you do have this movement down, which is pretty aggressive, right? You have a pretty aggressive 5-wave move down here. And of course, with that theory, you can come to the conclusion that this was a corrective structure. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult, this one. A little bit difficult. Yeah, it's trying to break down here. Yeah, it is a little bit of a hard zone locally. I mean, a little bit of a hard zone locally. But the price could get a reaction bounce in this area after the liquidity grab. There is one bullish case, which is you moved down in a 3-wave movement here throughout Friday and you know, Saturday and Sunday. It's a very 3-wave move. I analyzed this as well as a 3-waver. We can go through that, okay? I mean, I can just explain it right over here. You have a small little 5-wave move to the upside, a zigzag move down. I'm not, you know, this is not a contracting move or an expanding. You just have a massive 5th wave. So, I mean, you know, for me, it would not be an expanding 5th wave. It was more of a 3-wave structure. Because in your 3rd wave, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the conclusion here would be that you formed an ABC flat. Very, very, very hard and very disturbing. Okay, you know, the only bullish case here would be this one. Being a 3-wave structure. I mean, I don't want to focus now on the lower time frame, but just understanding if we could actually bounce in this region, right? Could it actually bounce after claiming the lows? But apparently it's not. It's breaking down at the moment. So what it's attempting to break down, a bit of choppy volatility. We do have New York open now in the next 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a bit of volatility kicking in here. But could this zone bounce? Could the 7-8 Fibonacci bounce here? Yeah, there is definitely a chance for this to bounce, okay? And there is one reason why, okay? There's one reason why a higher low could be formed here. All right. This was explained in the Legends trading community, the 7/8 Fibonacci, even possible back test of this low, where we do have a 3-wave structure here. We have, for me, this is a 3-wave structure. I mean, some people might say it's an expanding 5th wave. And then you have a 5-wave move down here, right? And we haven't exactly formed the same movement, but very similar here. Very, very similar movement here. I'll explain this, guys, because we basically do technical analysis based on what's happened in the past, right? And we understand where levels could bounce and where prices could bounce and where prices could reject. But I want to explain, this is like a mini version. This could be a mini version, right, of this. Even though this movement didn't take out this high, and this movement did take out this high. But it's interesting to see. And it's just giving the possibility, okay? Just giving the possibility that this area could actually form a higher low. You could actually form a higher low here. And this is just for education purposes, guys, right? It's just to really focus on why could it bounce from this area, right? Why could the price bounce from here? Yeah, bear with me here, guys. Bear with me, because I want to explain this. We can see from the highs here of Friday how the price action moved down in a 3-wave structure, okay? Then we had the movement up, which is hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci. Pivot high to the pivot low, 0.88. You can already think about flat structures. We came down here in a 5-wave move, right? And this is where it gets a bit complex for me to understand. Okay, I realize that the price could roll down because you could count this as an impulse, but it could also be a C wave inside of an ABC right over here, right? You got your top of the Friday, the low here from Sunday, the top of Sunday here, which we can consider a B wave, hit the 0.88. Above the 0.88, you can already talk about flats, and you claim below the C wave. And what has happened here is this, of course, this would be an ending structure. This would be an ending corrective move. Preferably the price does not claim the low, and this is why this area could bounce. It could bounce. These are very, very difficult because there is a valid bearish case based on the impulsive move down, the correction in a 3-wave move, and then the movement down here, right? But I just want to explain this movement on the larger time frame, which is 1 wave down, this corrective move throughout Saturday and Sunday, and then this movement down. And then you get the movement here to the upside, and then a 5-wave move down, which would be completing your possible speculative C wave, right, of your flat. When we do take a look at this, you would have to come to the conclusion that this is bullish, right? You've got a bullish movement up, strong movement to the upside, complex ABC flat right over here. And if this were to be your low, this has to be your first impulsive move. And what you're forming right over here is another flat structure to then recover, right? But I have to say, it does look very, very dodgy. It does look dodgy, but it is a possibility. You know, price is moving down pretty aggressively, but you know, this is a zone that could actually hold on. So with that theory, where you have a movement up, you have the correction, and then this movement to the upside to hit the 0.88. Doesn't matter if you hit the highs or not, but you need to get above the 0.88. And then you have the a 5-wave move. That's what you want on your C wave from a flat, right? And the bounce happened here as well, as after you claimed the lows. You could map, you know, it's very difficult here right now because I understand what I explained at the beginning of the stream, which is the 3-wave move down. So it's not a massive high probability trade, I have to say, because I understand the 3-wave move, the one that I explained basically at the beginning of the stream, right? I understand that this structure could be developing. But on lower time frames, I mean, if we are forming massive bullish CVD divergence, oh, we got a pump on the CVD out of nowhere. Oh, this is not good. Lots of longs entering right now on Bybit. Guys, I hope it's not because I mentioned this. Somebody on Bybit, you know, going extremely long. Not good. Got massive amount of longs entering right now. 11 million just a few minutes ago. My goodness. It is with open interest, but you're forming massive bearish CVDs. Not good. Not good. Suddenly out of nowhere, Bybit longs are entering here. You know, this is not usually a good sign. Not a good sign. It gives you a possibility that, you know, you're just forming local bearish CVD divergence, and you have a high probability that the lows are going to be claimed again. The 7/8 Fibonacci would be very interesting. Very, very interesting, as it is a back test of the lows of Sunday. These lows right over here. That would be a very interesting level to take into consideration. Very strong bearish CVD divergence, so I do expect that movement down to happen to test the lows. But 7/8 could be very interesting. We ever so slightly front runned it. It is a zone that could hold, but just so you understand, if the price were to bounce from here, you know, get a significant bounce right from this zone in the next coming hours, you know, it would be kind of this movement, right? You understand the price action. It would be something similar to this, because we are comparing right now this movement to this one, this correction to this one right over here, this movement up to this one right over here, and this movement down to this one right over here. So it's a mini impulse with a flat right there, and this is a larger time frame one, right? So why it does look very interesting is because of how the price action has moved down there from the wick high. So I understand that this is a 3-waver. I understand that this is also a 3-waver right over here. And from the highs, we have formed a 5-wave move down in an expanding move. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweep up the lows, sweep up the lows. You know, possible bounce is there without a doubt, right? It's interesting. Of course, we do have the higher time frame bearish case. I mean, this is, you know, when you do take a look at the overall context, you understand the possibilities, but I mean, for me, this would not be an extreme high probability setup. I understand it could bounce, but purely based on the other scenarios as well, like the one I mentioned throughout the beginning of the stream, which is very, very possible, where you form a 3-waver, a 3-waver, you're forming a 3-waver here, and then a 3-wave here, a 3-wave here, right? You maybe form a contracting move, but preferably, if this is going to be the local low, if this is going to be bullish on the lower time frame, preferably the bulls do defend this low, right? They do defend it. You maybe back test that low right there. It can be a flat, right? It can be a flat. Let's leave it that way. It can be a flat. We'll be very, very cautious based on the bearish case, right? We understand that we formed already a three-wave move up here, right? So we do have a higher time frame three-wave structure, A, B, C, or W, X, Y. It doesn't matter. And, you know, we want to be a little bit cautious without a doubt, or just lower risk on capital if we are speculating on internal long positions here. When we do understand the bearish case, right? We do understand the three-wave move down here. But it's just funny how the price has developed. This price action on the lower time frame, you know, is similar to this one right over here, right? But higher time frame, based on what I explained of the waves, right? Movement up, lows, highs, lows here in a five-wave move, and the same, you know, not the same, but very, very similar scenario right over here, giving the possible chance that this could be a higher low. But there is a big problem eventually, is the massive bearish CVD divergence. We got lots of longs entering on Bybit at the moment, with open interest increasing. You know, there's several million entering the market right now at these lows. Very, very interesting level. Okay, there was, without a doubt, you know, this would be a zone that, you know, I would not want to be in trade if you lose this low. This is not a great swing failure pattern level. Understanding that, yeah, if you lose this low, you're very likely going to form this three-wave structure as explained at the beginning of the stream. But it is not a bad attempt with low capital. Huh? This zone could actually hold. It could get wicky based on the local bearish CVD divergence, because we do have a huge amount of longs entering right now on Bybit. I'm not sure if they will survive, but they have a chance. Anybody, you know, these longs are literally doing a very similar analysis that we are looking at right now. So, I mean, there's people interested in longing this SFP based on that analysis that I just provided, right? The bulls have a chance in actually holding here. If the price were to hold this level, which is a very interesting level, right? Very interesting. You got a possible flat here. Liquidity grab from the highs, liquidity grab from the lows. It's literally, you got an ABC flat right over here. You got to have an ABC flat right over here. And you have your first initial wave to the upside. This one right over here. The problem is here. Yeah, what kind of projection could this give us? If we were to bounce here successfully, I would give a chance to the bulls to actually, you know, claim $85,000. Because I would be looking at this as the movement up, the correction, the first leg up, correction, and then, you know, you would be looking for a possible five-wave move up here, possibly. Could hold. It could hold. It could hold. There is a bullish case very locally here, guys. And I suddenly had to move in on the lower time frame because we were moving down here. But it's without a doubt a chance that the price does manage here. Too many longs on Bybit entering, I have to say. We got some local bearish CVD divergence, so you really just need to be aware that the price could test the lows one more time. There is a possibility that the price could test these local lows one more time, and you just need to be aware of that scenario, whether you break it or not. You know, if you have any stop loss beneath the low, you know, you need to be aware that, you know, the price could do this and maybe then recover pretty successfully if it does not do it from, you know, current price levels. And eventually, if it were to test the lows and break down, then you're not interested, right? If you maintain beneath that low, you're just not interested in taking the long. You don't want to be in a long position eventually and hoping for a reversal. It's like you lose the local low, or you get above it, you sniper, stop loss, you pump, you're defensive, or you just maintain that stop loss beneath the low, which as it's very small. And if it does recover nicely to get above the local highs of today and even higher, then you got a good trade, right? You got a nice little trade that you can maintain and start being defensive, of course. Anyway, that is very, very locally, guys. You know, let's zoom out, sorry. But it's very, very interesting to see here because, you know, this is actually a zone. I would have preferred the back test here. I want to see if we do have some bullish CVD divergence, because some new ones preferably, because we do have on Bybit these bullish CVD divergence have played out already, which is taking out this high. On the blue, we just very, very close in forming the lower lows on the blue, which would be bullish CVD divergence on the rest of exchanges. Not quite yet there though, unfortunately. Too many longs. I mean, this open interest is going up. There are a lot of longs entering on Bybit, but this is usually not a good sign. It's usually not a good sign on the lower time frame. Longs going crazy, massive bearish CVD divergence, high highs on the CVD, lower highs on the price action, giving you a high chance that the lows could be claimed. So it's not, yeah, that's a little bit of disadvantage here of this scenario. Would it be nice to see a lot of shorts entering here on the movement down to form these bullish CVD divergence to give you that high probability, you know, possible rise to the highs, but it's not the case. So it's not giving a very, very high probable setup, unfortunately. Anyway, let's talk about we talked about the breakdown here, the levels of interest that I am looking at, and to the upside, what are the levels of resistance, right? What are the major levels of resistance? Let's just imagine that the price pumps from here. I mean, if we lose this low, I think we only have the long opportunity based on today and tomorrow. But if we do pump from here, this ends up being bullish market, corrective structure. And this is a bullish first impulse because we do have an ABC flat here as explained. That is if we do hold here. I mean, there is a chance for the 1-2 as explained. You know, this could be a 1-2 and we move up from here. ABC flat. Leading move to the upside. Leading move to the upside. ABC flat. You get the price action rallying here. I would be very cautious in entering a short position in this area between 85.2K, okay, and the highs. I would be extremely cautious of getting into a short position anywhere between 84K and 85.2k. If the price manages to recover, I think it could break out here. And this would be for me, a no shorting zone. And you may ask why? Well, it's purely based on this, right? You got this movement, you got a possible ABC flat count, and you got a first 1, 2, right? Maintain this low preferably. And then you got the 3, right? 4, 5, right? You get you got a leading move up here, right? So this zone becomes dangerous, in my opinion, because all of this could be a corrective move, right? You got the leading wave here, corrective move, and you could be starting the next leading wave over here. So any shorts right now, if we were to pump to this area, in my personal opinion, based on the analysis, is going to be a dangerous zone to short until we break the highs and look at different levels of rejection. I would let the price action go till we break above 85.2, and then I would be interested in looking for the shorting levels. And the main reason why is because this could be the leading way, ABC flat right there, leading move, ABC flat, leading move up. So would not be interested in a short on the bounce here if we get back above today's highs. Me personally, I would give the bulls a chance. I would give them a chance to break out, right, or get at least a nice move up. What is very interesting is, could this turn out to be a contracting move to the upside? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I mean, this is what we could be developing right now in between today and tomorrow, right? Because we do have that leading move up, correction, another leading move up, correction, and this could have another leading move up to plus 85k. The level to reject would be, without a doubt, this would be not an interesting zone to short, at least for me here. This area would be not an area that I would want to short if the price manages to pump above today's highs. Understanding this, the leading move here in a contracting, right, movement to the upside. So there is levels to short eventually, but it would have to be above 85,200, and we need to come to the conclusion on what are the levels. We have a problem here. If this were to be a contracting move, your wave, if this is going to be your wave 3, it is shorter than your wave 1. So we have a problem here. Your wave 5 cannot be longer than your wave 3, because your wave 1 is longer here if this were to be a contracting move. So now what we have an invalidation, because at the end of the day, this could be a double 1-2, right? It could be a 1-2, and then you break out in a third wave very aggressively, right? It's possible. And it could be a double 1-2, and now, you know, this was a little bit risky of a long, I have to say, but it is bouncing a little bit. It is getting a little bounce of a few $100, nothing too serious. That liquidity grab from the lows, well, it could end up in a pretty decent push up of a few $1,000s. If we do understand the contracting move to the upside, the wave 5, which would be this one, cannot be longer than your wave 3. If you want it you want it to be a valid contracting move. So you would have to get the length of your third wave from the start. Yeah, I mean, it would, yeah, round about. So a swing failure pattern from these local highs that we mentioned on the previous video would be the ideal scenario, right? You're actually getting resistance from the higher highs, right? It cannot reach the $87,300. So preferably, if the price were to pump in the next coming hours, it does not reach 73,300, which would be your contracting move invalidation. But you know, that you always need to be aware of. I don't think it would be the case, guys. The price action is incredibly bearish. I wouldn't lean on the side that the market's going to pump to 90K plus, right? It is very bearish. But a little squeeze up of a few $1,000s is possible. So it would lean on get to this order block, sweeping up the highs of the previous weekend, and that it would make sense for the price to reject from that zone. We do have the naked point of control, which could have an attempt in breaking above that level, and that would be, you know, this would be a really ideal short position. This would be a very, very good short entry that could last a few days, and you could look for a proper correction here in the next coming days. If we were to come up to 86.5K basically would be the ideal. Sweep up the lower highs right there from, you know, which you do have a lot of liquidity. There is a lot of liquidity there. At the 86K zone, 85 plus, right? There is a lot of liquidity there. So it would make sense for the price to claim that liquidity and then get the pullback, right? So it kind of goes in confluence with the analysis that we could get up there and reject from that zone. Of course, you need the rejection and you need your stop loss above the rejection high, right? So, you know, it's just a good level. It's just a good level. So on the higher time frame, and we want to be cautious, guys, because if you break through, right? Let the price go, right? The price was bullish and it broke the level of resistance. It broke the shorting level, right? Which I don't think it would happen, but who knows, right? I don't know what's going to happen. The most important level is this one right over here. Yeah, not much more here to say on the higher time frame, legends. But overall, maybe some of you did jump into this long position and is, you know, putting all the pressure on the possibility of the bounce happening to get to that zone. They do have a chance, as explained. Maybe it's just going to be a little bounce of a few $100s and the price is just going to form a lower high. But there is a chance, right? It's all understanding the levels where it could bounce, understanding the bullish case. If this is going to be bullish short term, right? Nothing too major. Then this is the correction, ABC. This is your first leg up. This is an ABC flat. You do not want that low to be lost. So any movement down to the golden pocket 7/8 Fibonacci has to be the last chance locally for the bulls to get a bounce of a few $1,000s. Doesn't look, you know, it's a very, very tricky zone. Very, very tricky zone because you are downtrending and you have an AB or a WXY, it doesn't matter. You do have a three-wave structure here from last week. I really like this long position. This area for a long is absolutely golden, as explained at the beginning of the stream, right? That's a higher probability long setup. And that's, you know, we really want to get into higher probability trade setups, okay? So really, this area is really nice. These lower highs from the previous weekend are very, very nice as well. Also with the high resistance of this speculative contracting move. is also very, very good. Very, very nice. Okay, so we got very, very nice levels for a rejection or a bounce. More locally, we had this one, which was a little bit aggressive. I mean, we are bouncing a few $100s. I wouldn't have gone too aggressive on this one because we do have the bearish case, right? But for the moment, I mean, the reaction bounce did happen. Let's see if we do gain some steam throughout the next coming hours. But just so you understand, when we talk Elliott wave theory here, guys, if you have a leading move to the upside and then a very, very choppy sideways momentum, and you can structure the movement where you have a three waver, you also have a three waver here, and then you have a, this comes up to the 0.88 Fibonacci, which decreases the probability of a incredible bearish case, a capitulation phase. Basically, it doesn't mean you cannot go down, but as you come to the 0.88 fib from the high to the low created the last few days, it incredibly decreases the probability of the price breaking down aggressively. So you already need to start thinking, okay, the price action is losing power to the downside. To the downside, it's losing the power. And when you do find this 5-wave move down, boom, 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 you can come to the conclusion of, okay, this could be an ABC flat. Because you do not need to take the highs for a flat. You just need to get above the 0.88, the 0.9 really, technically, which it did. And just sweep up the lows, and your C wave most commonly is formed by a 5-wave structure. The same has happened here. You've had a movement to the upside, and you've had a 3-wave move down, and a 3-wave move up, and a 5-wave move to the downside to claim this low right over here. So you need to give a chance for this to be an ABC flat, just as you give a chance here for this ABC flat right over here. So this means that if this is an ABC flat, and this is also an ABC flat, you can give a chance for the bulls to get a projected breakout here in the next coming hours. And maybe this is the moment that it does get above 85K. Will it do so or not? I don't know, but regardless, this is the zone, right, where it's actually getting a little bounce of a few $100s. It might gain some steam, form a higher low. I don't like the bearish CVD divergence. My goodness, bearish CVDs are going crazy right now. The longs on BITFLEX are going absolutely bananas. Lots of longs entering. I mean, they might have the power. I don't know. We need several tens of millions to get in the next coming hours. I'm not sure if it's going to manage to do so, to actually get the breakout. Not looking too convincing for the moment. Anyway, let's go through the comment section, guys. Remember, if you are interested in trading, Weeks is a great platform. You only need an email and a password to sign up and start trading on Weeks. Okay, I know a lot of people don't want to give too much personal information. You don't need to do that here on Weeks. You just need an email and a password. Of course, they do have some great bonuses, which is a 50% deposit bonus with a $1,000 cap. Okay, if you deposit $2,000, you're getting $1,000 on top of that. You need to transfer that deposit to your futures account and wait 48 to 72 hours, and you'll be getting that airdrop. Okay, it's a $1,000 cap. You deposit $1,000, you're getting 500. You deposit 2,000, you're getting 1,000 on top of that, guys. You also get 25% fee reduction using the second link down below in the description, guys. Check out Weeks. You got a great deal down below. All right, it's another way to support the channel. Works great. I've been trading there for the last few months. All right, so it works absolutely great. Very liquid on Bitcoin trading. Other scenarios on Bitcoin locally, I mean, I don't have any more, basically. I don't have any more. I realized the bullish case here. I realized the bullish case. I realized the bearish one as well. Not a very easy scenario. Cause I'm leaning on the possibility that this is, this is still the corrective move that we mentioned a few days ago, right? I mean, this was a scenario that is, we can sweep the lows at $80,000 and we can sweep the highs at $85,000. And we had this movement, and eventually this is the high, right? This is the higher time frame high. I'm not sure if you can see this, guys, but this would be the high, right? This is a WXY end of correction above 85 or 86, doesn't matter, but over it's a projected move. And from here, this is the local top, and the price starts rolling down. However, the main reason today I had to give a chance for the bulls based on the local time frame is because of yesterday's move, guys, right? Depending on what movement happens next, right? Because if I'm speculating that this is the high, okay, based on the previous videos, right? This could be the high. What I want to see here is some action. I want to see the price. Come on, let's start rolling down, and then we know that it looks pretty bearish. But there was an event yesterday which created this. And this changed the game completely, guys. Based on different scenarios, right? Based on the different scenarios that could happen. And of course, we understand that the movement that could happen is all of the different ones that I explained, right? Which is the ABC flat. You got the first leg up here, ABC flat. It might lead the way up to $85,000 plus, only because of this movement. Only because of this movement of yesterday, Sunday. And of course, that brings you the different trading setups as well. This could be an ascending contracting move. You don't want the wave 5 to be longer than your wave 3. So it needs to peak out at 86.5K max. You got a lot of confluence right there. I'm not sure if we do have a daily level. No, we don't. We don't have nothing up there. Just a naked point of control, which it can attempt to break to the upside and sweep up the highs of the previous weekend. So you have this scenario for the short trade. And if you roll down from here, as mentioned, this will not look like an impulsive capitulation, right? I would not be afraid of a massive third wave coming here. I would not be afraid of the movement down. I would be very interested in sniper that long position, either at the daily or at the weekly, depending on the price action, purely based on what I explained, where you have a three waver, this movement up coming to the 0.88. You don't have a projected third wave down here, very powerful. It's likely going to be weak, and it's likely going to find support at the strongest confluence zone, which is literally this one here at 81,000 to 80,600. Which is the value area low of this entire trading zone, right? As well. So, yeah, I like that level a lot. If we do break down from here, I would not be interested in any long positions between the 0.88 and this zone. So this is like a no trade zone for me. And this area also would be a no trade zone for me. So I'd either want to look for the daily or the weekly reaction, or I'd either want to look for these highs and the naked point of control of this order block, right? For the trading setup. And more locally, this was an aggressive long. You can be quite defensive. I wouldn't risk too much. You would have to give a chance to the bulls. But we need to remember where we're coming from, right? We need to remember where we're coming from. and we are coming from a major downtrend. So there is an extreme bullish case scenario, which is just breaking out here and going to 90K plus, which is possible, but I'm not going to lean it's highly likely. And that is a double 1-2 setup. Double 1-2 setup is possible. And then you get the third wave, 4, 5, right? And we're heading above 90K. For me, this is an unlikely scenario, okay? But it could happen. You know, just need to be aware. All of those people that want to short the pump here, manage risk based on the reaction at the levels that I mentioned, right? I mean, maybe you have some other levels and other strategies, but you don't want to be adding to the position if you do break out from here, because if this is a third wave, then we could be moving up several $1,000s to the upside, right? Just manage risk. Anybody that is trading for short positions. And that is basically it, legends, here for the Bitcoin price. Here for the Bitcoin price. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community. I do have some interesting news that we can talk about, guys. There is some pretty interesting news that I want to go through. We do have important news throughout this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we do have housing starts, building permits in the US. We also have FOMC economic projection and Fed press conference. That is tomorrow night. This is Wednesday night, UAE time. It will be midday in USA. We'll be looking to do a live stream here just to check the volatility and what is going on. We do have an interesting week with a bit of news. The big day is on Wednesday, which I do think will be pretty interesting to see. Let's go through the comment section. Then I want to jump into a little bit of news that is going on and some other charts and statistics, and maybe jump into a few of the altcoins. Let's check how many likes we do have here on the stream, and I can see already that CBM is around, and my goodness, yes, Devil is getting liquidated at $86,000. Andy, we are coming for you. Let's go liquidate Andy. Longing now, 100x. Yeah. Let's go here. We got the legends here in the comment section, guys. We got the legends in the comment section. Make sure to check out 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽. He is here. We got also 𝗤𝗫. They are also coaches in the legends trading community, and I have to say, 𝗤𝗫 has specialized on shorting rug pulls. I'm not sure if they're rug pulls completely. You would arguably discuss that. All coins and meme coins and, the crypto coins that launch, they end up getting a massive collapse at some point. And he's really specialized in the legends trading community to really focus on shorting these cryptos. And the latest one has been Mubarak. I need to give a shout out here to CBM Crypto by 𝗤𝗫. He's also got the YouTube channel, but getting into an epic short, providing the setup here as well in the legends trading community, which has been absolutely epic. Really, really successful short, and some people actually jumping into that short position very, very nicely. So really paying attention to some new cryptos that are getting launched on different exchanges, and they end up getting a pretty nice drop doing the analysis, guys. If you want to join the legends trading community, daily updates on Bitcoin, also on altcoins, new launches, Crypto by 𝗤𝗫 is here in the comment section. You will enjoy his content, guys. You also have the legend 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽. Make sure to go and check out 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽's channel as well if you don't already. Someone yesterday put a 40x few million US dollar Tether BTC. Then money makers wanted to kick out him but failed. Yes, very true. We talked about this scenario in today's live stream, right, where we know there is that whale with over $300 million worth of shorts that actually jumped into a short position, and his liquidation event is around about $86,000 if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in this region. And apparently this wick that we had to the upside was a failed attempt of other entities trying to liquidate that whale, right? Which is very interesting, right? You can actually see the fight from, you know, bulls and bears. Well, I'm not sure if these, you know, the people that longed here are actually bulls for the midterm, but apparently they had an attempt in liquidating. That's the story. I'm not sure if it's real or not. So yeah, let's go through comment section. Pin the Legends trading community. We talked about it in my second most recent video. You know, make sure you go and check out Crypto by 𝗤𝗫, guys. You can check his channel by clicking here on Matthew CBM right away. And he did mention about this short position today in his new video update. I'm calling Sailor to liquidate this monkey. Yeah. Let's go right away through the comment section, guys, and we can take a look at some altcoins, but the analysis here on Bitcoin has been literally done. Not looking too great. The price action, very choppy, very rangy. This is really the zone that you need to give the bulls a chance on the short term, you know, on the shorter time frame. You need to give them a chance. You need to give them a chance based on the analysis that I provided, but you really want to hold this low. You really want to hold this low, because if you lose this low, I think a drop of an extra $1,000 is likely, and then we come to the next level of interest. So a higher low, as explained, all been explained today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I want to see how many likes we do have based on today's live stream, guys. You know, I want to believe it's strong analysis, really going through common sense, where we should hold. 366 likes. Let's get to at least 500 likes, guys. I'm going to go and take a hike. I don't know what's going on with my like button, guys, but it doesn't work too well. We really go through the levels, the different projections, the different possibilities, risk management. We can day trade these levels. We can manage risk. And I don't know, you know, maybe some people are talking about major movement down, major movement up. We're going to 60K or we're going to 100K. We really analyze what levels need a hold and, you know, where we can find some local scalping opportunities, regardless if the price ends up breaking up or breaking down, right? We want to try and look for the internal levels for those setups, guys. And I need the like button to get destroyed. I mean, I hope you enjoy the content, you know, and the levels. I hope it makes sense. Strongest levels of today, without a doubt, weekly and daily. This one right over here, there is a short-term possible bullish case, but, you know, it's looking not too great, at least for the moment, right? Not too great. We got too much bullish CVD divergence, bearish, sorry. We got too many people on Bybit long in. This is crazy. This is not good. This is not good if you want the bullish case to happen, right? Too many longs entering on Bybit, which means, you know, there is a chance in claiming that local low. I would consider a double bottom. I would consider, so just squeeze out those longs that are entering on Bybit, which is insane. We've got over 15 million longs throughout the last hour. 15 million longs, which is not much. But, you know, that's why it's not much. So they might get squeezed out with the bearish momentum. Let's continue through the comment section here. We're going to be doing 2-hour live stream right now. Want that like? Should we long here? I'll tell you what. This was an acceptable long entry right over there. The volatility that we had here. You know, 7.8 Fibonacci. I think 0.88 Fibonacci. You know what would be a great long position? You know, possible back test and local very strong bullish CVD divergence. That is a possibility, unless, you know, or a long ride over here. Stop loss, you can really right now be quite defensive. And this is giving a chance to the ABC movement, okay? This is giving a chance to that ABC flat. We have it on the chart, right? It's on the chart. it's like longing right over here, right? It's like kind of longing this ABC, right? Do you want a long or not? Well, you do have on the analysis that you have an ABC flat right there, right? You come up to the 0.99 Fibonacci from this move, almost claiming the highs. It did not. Then you claim the lows and you get the bounce. So right now we have a mini version of that, right? We have a possible mini version of it, which could happen. It could happen. Preferably testing the lows would be ideal because you would be back testing this low over here, right? A local double bottom is where I would be attempting a long position only and only if the price sustains above the level. If we break down, then lower we go. If the price wicks down beneath the low because of the bearish CVD divergence, I mean, this is the thing, guys. You know, we got massive bearish CVDs. Big lower highs on the price action, massive higher highs on the CVD. Lots of longs entering on Bybit that are probably going to get liquidated. You know, when you have the bearish CVDs, you have a high probability in the lows getting claimed, which means why not wait for the lows to be claimed? And if you do get the movement to the upside, as soon as it gets above, you have a sniper trade and stop loss, you know, literally at the low at the 0.88. That is giving a chance here on this scenario. Let's go through comment section. Can you take a look at ADA? As soon as we get to 500 likes, we're going to take a look at a few altcoins in the comment section, guys, right away. So make sure to destroy that like button. We get to 500 likes, we're going to take a look at some altcoins. Warren Buffett, that's a whale. Warren Buffett is chef or what? How do we check bearish CVD divergence? How about the bullish CVD divergence? Yeah, we also have the bullish CVDs, which is possibly on the formation. But the bullish ones, I think you're talking about higher time frame bullish CVD divergence. Let's go over right over here and analyze the slightly higher time frame. Yeah, these bullish CVD divergence from here on Bybit, also all of this movement down. The local CVD divergence always has priority, okay? Local CVD, which are now bearish, they always have more priority than the larger time frame ones that you're building, okay? So, yeah, I mean, will we manage to, you know, hold this region or actually move lower and then get a really decent bounce? And then we have more powerful bullish CVDs. Where do you get this? This is AGGR.trade, okay? AGGR.trade. It is for free. If you have any questions, you can join the free Legends trading community on Discord, guys, okay? And there you can get your questions answered, CVD divergence, be surrounded with the people that are sharing charts. And if you have any questions, of course, you know, you have a very large community. You do have the Legends trading community. Down below, you got the free version, of course. And then you have the paid version, which we are, you know, I'm there. We've got 𝗕𝗏𝘆𝗽, other coaches providing the setups on text. You have CBM, 𝗕𝗶𝘆𝗽 is also around, which got into a very, very good, successful short position today. You know, it's just more activity in the Discord, in the Legends trading community. Kamya, let's go. No bullish one on smaller time frames. Binance RSI. Not taking a look at RSI, me personally. What are more important levels, says Andy. I've gone through the higher time frame levels, giving the explanation, but the levels of interest on the higher time frame is the daily and the weekly and the 86,500. These are very, very good levels for a decent bounce of a few $1,000s or a rejection of a few $1,000s, okay? They have been explained in detail throughout the first hour of the stream, and you can go and check it out. More locally, you know, it's a bit of a battle here. I think there is that chance. There is that chance for the bulls to hold this higher low. There is a chance. There is a chance to hold 81,900. There is a slight chance here for the bulls based on the explanation that I also provided here on the stream throughout the last hour. Oh, Andy, I love you. 𝗲𝗲, I love you too, man. I love you too. Much love to everybody. Sorry, I missed. Have you talked about that big 40x short position? Yes, I have at the beginning of the stream, right? This is mainly the title of short squeeze loading, which, you know, very, very possibly could happen. Andy, I will close my short position at $73,800. Thank you, says 𝗲𝗲. Depending on where you're shorting, right? You know, I got into multiple shorts throughout the previous week, but if you've been shorting last week, you need to get out, right? I've got into longs and shorts throughout last week. I mean, if you're shorting from $93,000, then yeah, you have many reasons to hold this short for another low and another take profit. But if you shorted on Friday, or if you shorted on Wednesday last week, you know, where is your invalidation? Where is your stop loss? Where, you know, I don't know. You know, I've been day trading last week and I got into a few shorts and longs. I'm out of the trades, and I'm looking at the next trading levels, right? Which I've been sharing here throughout the stream here today as well. So how to join the Discord? You do have the Discord link down below in the description. Join the Legends trading community. It is the 4th link down below, okay? You have the free version. You can hop around there. And of course, if you want to upgrade, you have the Legends trading community where you have, you know, Mattia, you have myself channel, 𝗕𝗏𝘆 channel, Dylan's analysis, which focuses on lots of altcoins, BTC setups channel, altcoin setup channel. When there is a high probability trade setup, it is posted in text right over here, as you can see, okay? You got the 4th link down below if you want to join the Legends trading community. I just longed. It's not a bad long, right? Down here, be aware of the bearish CVDs. This area is interesting. I would be personally out of the trade if you come down to that zone. This is the only giving the ABC flat possibility, okay? But you need to be aware. You need to be aware. Double bottoms are very acceptable. When you long these double bottom scenarios, you just understand that your stop loss is very small, right? It's very small. And most of the traders have a big problem with stop losses. They have a big problem where to put their stop loss. And they risk too much, or they add to the position. And you just realize that if you do form a local double bottom, right, either this one right over here, right, stop loss give or take beneath the low, you have another chance for a sniper trade if you double bottom right over here. And this would give you a better option, because depending on the low, and as soon as the price bounces ever so slightly, you can have a very, very protective trade setup, right? Which your stop loss literally kind of almost disappears, right? Break even, you pay a bit of fees if the price rolls back down. Okay, just understand that, you know, you need to be pretty defensive on the setups. Let's continue through the comment section, because we are going to take a look at a few altcoins, but we need that like button being absolutely destroyed, guys. We need to get to 500 likes. I'm just going to take a quick walk here to around the corner, and I want that like button to get at least to 500 likes. Come on, guys. You know, we really go through the different scenarios, mainly on Bitcoin. It does take quite a bit of time to give the explanations on why those movements and why the setups Okay, we can take a look at some altcoins as soon as we get to 500 likes. Let's go, guys. Yes. Yes, it's moving. We're managing legends. We're managing. Let's go. Let's take a look at ADA. Why not on the chart? Shall we take a look at ADA? Somebody asked for ADA analysis. Whew. I like this movement on ADA. This is actually pretty bullish for the mid long term. It's pretty, this movement up means only one thing, that a movement to the upside with another low is going to happen. You got a 3-wave move down here. And for the moment, you have a 3-wave move up. So regardless of the downtrend, you're going to get a pretty decent bounce here on ADA at some point. This is not a very strong bearish, capitulation based on this movement over here. And there's only 2 big major options. This either is corrective and you are going to recover very nicely in the next coming weeks on ADA, or the bearish case scenario is forming a contracting move to the downside. All right, or an expanding move, right, where you're going to form 5 waves down because there's no other option. It's not going to capitulate down the case of, and go to 30 cents. This is not going to happen based on what's happened here. So it's either going to be, either the low is in and it starts recovering. This is a 3-wave corrective structure, very volatile move, very steep. All the pump has been retraced, or it's actually going to bounce, break down, bounce, break down. You form a contracting move, which is going to be bearish, but you will get a pump, and then obviously it's going to be a bear trap. This is the only 2 options. The low is in and you pump. If we break down, it's going to be bearish long term, like for the next coming months. You will get some bounce, but it will be a bear trap. You will have a breakout of a descending wedge. Oh my goodness, this is it. We are back. We are so back. And then, yeah, it's a big, massive trap. And, the bear market has already started, right? So, Devil, come on, man. Are you serious? I don't believe. I mean, we have butthole token, so ass cream. Yeah, apparently it's not on CoinGecko. Apparently it's not on CoinGecko. Ass cream. It's probably on Dex screen. Let's take a look at that. Why not? I would really think that you Oh man, it is actually a token. Oh damn. Well, this is very low liquid. When did this one launch? Ass Cream Coin. Yeah, this one did horribly bad. This one launched a few weeks ago. This is not doing good, Deviled. Ass Cream token. There it is. There it is. Peanut Coin. Shall we take a look at Peanut Coin? Why not? Peanut Coin. Let's take a look at Peanut. We usually flip-flop on these altcoins, guys. The big proper analysis, it's on Bitcoin. It does take time. We've only taken a look at, 2 big major levels. Local level that did provide a scalping long. You need to be defensive here. Nothing too crazy, guys. We understand that this level could be lost. But it makes sense for this ABC, I have to say. It makes sense that there is a chance. Just like this one here. There is a chance for this to be an ABC flat. So there is a chance for this one also to be an ABC flat, right? So you need to give the bulls a chance. So yeah, for altcoins, yeah, Peanut. Holy moly, what happened to Peanut the squirrel? What happened to Peanut the squirrel? What's going on? Yeah, this one didn't turn out very good. This one did not turn out very good, guys. Peanut went down big time. Peanut the squirrel. This was a hyped up community coin. And yeah, we know that these hyped up community coins, they end up having a very, very, very strong pullback. It's still 181 million market cap. Is it bottoming out? That is the question, right? Is this bottoming out? And it's starting, you know, it's going to start a recovery. I wouldn't, you know, I personally don't trust these guys. Lots of these coins, they just die off, right? They kind of just die off. Can the community bring, you know, Peanut to life again? We need an altcoin season. We need a meme coin season. We need to talk about the global liquidity, guys. This is what we need to talk about instead of altcoins. You know, without a doubt, altcoins, good projects are incredibly cheap right now, right? Good projects that will eventually recover in the near future, right? You want to buy at a discount. Don't be fearful and saying bear market and this, that, the other. This is the moment to DCA onto some altcoins regarding spot for the mid-long term for the recovery. And what is very interesting is the global liquidity, okay? And the M2 supply. The M2 supply has actually reached all-time high. And it's very interesting to see how the M2 supply does impact the price of Bitcoin, but it lags behind, okay? The price of Bitcoin lags, okay, behind the M2 supply by several weeks. And this is in the green, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, is the M2, right? This is the global liquidity index. And this is the M2 money supply, which reached a new all-time high. Throughout the pumps that we had in 2023 and 2024, we had the M2 supply, you know, hitting all-time high several weeks before we got the recovery on Bitcoin. So we can see the recovery here throughout December, January, okay? No, even November, we started moving up. It was lagging a few weeks on Bitcoin. Bitcoin did recover after getting that M2 supply pumping. Same scenario happened throughout November till December of 2023. Of course, Bitcoin did rally after that, you know, after the M2 supply increased. Same scenario happened throughout August, July, August. August is where we bottomed out. September, October, we started recovering very nicely on Bitcoin. And now the M2 supply is, you know, hit a new all-time high. So it lags behind by a few weeks. So could we see that increase again on the price of Bitcoin? I do personally believe so. When we do take a look at the global liquidity index, it is forming that descending wedge. It's actually breaking the channel already, right? Breaking the lower high resistance. And it looks like we are entering that reversal stage, right? So, and it's all about having liquidity in circulation. It lags behind. Nobody's going to believe this. It's over, guys. Bear market. I know. I understand. I understand, guys. We're pumping without any volume today. It's done. Yeah. I mean, what can we say? What can we say? What can we say? It's pumping without any volume. The price is done. We are going to go down. Not looking too convincing. Like Umbrella, yeah, Umbrella. I'm down on Umbrella, guys. It's Umbrella was 2% almost of my crypto portfolio. It's done. It's done. But it's not a failed project just yet. We'll give it a chance. Then we'll talk about it once it recovers, right? For the moment, yeah, it's gone down. It's one of those projects, guys. This is the risk of low cap projects. It either brings a win or it brings, you know, an unrealized loss for a long time. You're just going to have to hold on tight. But this is why it's a very small percentage of the portfolio, right? You just give the chance to it. Andy, why haven't you sold your crypto yet? Well, Chainlink, I do think it has a bright future. Okay, I've sold 10% of my Bitcoin. Okay, I've sold 10% of my entire Bitcoin holdings, which is not a few Bitcoin. It's not a couple of Bitcoin. And the main reason why has been explained the last few months. I'm still holding my Chainlink. It is a big chunk, but I'm going to hold Chainlink. I'm not selling here, guys. You know, this is not a moment to sell. You know, I should have sold here, right? This movement down, I'm not going to sell anywhere here. I might consider buying more. The moment to sell is when you pump very aggressively, guys. You know, it's just, I hold on to the corrections or buy more, right? Why haven't you sold now when there's max fear, right? Well, you're getting this wrong, guys. This is the moment to either hold on or to even accumulate more. You'll understand why in a few months. Then I'll say, now I'm selling, guys. Now I'm selling some of the crypto, right? When we go to higher levels. How long is that going to take? Well, M2 global money supply, it is increasing. So we'll have to see. We might get a devastating black swan event, first of all. Lots of people speculating on a black swan, right? We're on the verge, or there's a 56% chance that a black swan is going to happen, right? Well, nobody knows. But eventually, if we do get one of those, it will be a buying opportunity. So I am sitting on cash as well, a part of holding a lot in crypto still, a lot of Bitcoin still. But I sold 10%, 90K and at 100K. And I did say this on the channel. Guys, I've sold 5% of my entire Bitcoin holdings, which is not a small amount, guys, okay? You know, selling 10% of, you know, any asset, if you do have a lot of it, it's quite a big chunk. And it's just to stay on the safe side. If we were to get a capitulation event, I just have some cash to buy more at lower levels. And I would even consider buying Bitcoin below 76K. If we drop below 76K, I would already buy some Bitcoin at these levels. I would already say, okay, you know, I'm interested in buying the drop below 76K. While many will speculate it's going to go down to 50K or 40K, right? Or even 20K. Well, you know, it's a moment to start buying, that is for sure. And it's the same strategy of every cycle. I mean, could we get a devastating pullback to 20K? Well, I don't know, maybe. But it's the same here. I did manage to buy some Bitcoin at $17,000 when we had the FTX collapse. But I was already buying Bitcoin below $30,000. I was already buying Bitcoin in this zone and buy also in this area and this area and, you know, throughout this range. So, of course, all of that Bitcoin that's been bought in this zone, just 2 years later, is in big profits, right? So, you get the deal, right? You get the deal. It's a DCAing strategy. Start buying. So if we do drop down below 76K, just because I believe that the cycle is not finished, you know, I would consider this a buying zone. For me personally, that's part of my strategy. You need to have yours, and this is as an investment perspective, and it's long term, guys, right? Regardless, I won't be I won't regret if the price goes down to 60K or 50K. Because I won't put all my holding, I won't put all my cash, right? I will use 1% of my cash, right? Or 2% to buy below $76,000. If we go lower, then it just brings cheaper Bitcoin to buy. Nobody likes this, guys, because most of you, I understand, maybe bought in later. You know, you're at fear stages. There's going to be a recession. The top is in. I understand all of that, guys, but So did you set orders below at 70K? No, I don't. I don't, you know, I will send, you know, we will have many hours, if not days, to buy up. Okay. It's not about catching the lows. There will be time to buy up some Bitcoin. It's not, I don't think it's going to be a wick down, right? A wick and then we V-shape. Oh, I didn't put limit levels. I think it's going to be movement down. I don't mind buying at 76 or 73 or 70K, right? There will be time if it is going to be bear market. So no limit levels. Okay. No limit positions. Sorry. Andy, it's not fun. Why PRQ still is not pumped? I actually made some pretty decent profits on PRQ. I actually made money with this crypto. One of the only ones that I made money, you know, because not the only one, because I had PRQ. We had, from the zone that we mentioned, PRQ, Constellation DAG, and 𝗬𝗨 network, which did a 5x, guys. I know a lot of people are looking for a 50x, but you need to get your moon boots off and land on planet Earth and understand that this is a ferocious market, and you know, many do lose. So the plan here for PRQ was to take more than 50% as soon as the highs are hit from the buying zone, because this is not a buying zone. We never talked about buying PRQ on the pump. The buying zone was here, and the exit plus 50%, which did a 3x, so you had to come out with some profits, yes or yes, was getting above the highs. Soon as you get above the highs, out, plus 50%. And the same with 𝗬𝗨 network. 𝗬𝗨 network has, you know, was one of the coins that I made most of the profits in this cycle, I have to say. And these are quick flips. Look at it where it is right now. It's at entry zone. It's, you know, this was the exit area. Exit here. More than 50% of what we bought down here, which we were weeks, guys, talking about this. Weeks. So, you know, you did have time to accumulate and get the heck out. But of course, a lot of the people and a lot of the influence that you do have on X and YouTube was, it's going to be the most epic 2025 bull run, you know, including myself, but I'm taking some profits. I've sold some Bitcoin. I've been buying for years. I'm staying on the safe side. We want to cash out something. And, you know, 5x is nothing in crypto. Well, you should have bought, you know, 𝗕𝗶𝗴 in 2023 if you wanted the 60, 70x, right? These are quick flips, guys, and it's just part of the game. So I actually made some pretty decent money on 𝗬𝗨 network based on, you know, the strategy was simple. I'm going to get out as soon as we hit the high, and I'll leave a moon bag. Moon bag is literally at entry zone at the moment. 10, 11 cents was the entry area, and it's currently trading at 12 cents. So yeah, I mean, if we start bottoming out here on 𝗬𝗨 network, then I would consider this a reaccumulation area, guys. But let's wait a little bit, right? I don't think it's going to V-shape, so let's give it a bit of time to see if we are going to enter a reaccumulation stage. Anyway, Andy made a big bag on 𝗬𝗨. I did make a few dollars. Did make a few dollars on 𝗬𝗨 network. But was one of the only ones, I have to be honest here. Constellation DAG, 𝗬𝗨 network, PRQ, and I think there was another one. Kadena, was disappointed on Kadena. I'm actually down on Kadena. We missed the take profit zone and we're just going to hold on, right? It's literally almost that buy and entry zone, which the last call on Kadena was 60, 70 cent before we broke out here, guys. And I missed by selling 50% of the bag by just a few cents. You know, these are the ones that are like, damn you, Kadena, right? It's just, it didn't work out. So I'm holding the bag now at a slight loss. So we're going to have to hold on to that. So yeah, DXY is dumping. Well, that's a kind of a good sign. The dollar index is dumping down. I am quite bearish on the dollar index, but I was expecting here the dollar index to actually hold as support based on the point of control of the range. But this is actually pretty damn good for Bitcoin mid long term. There's no instant reaction on the price, but you know, eventually this would have a bullish effect, especially with the M2 supply, you know, increasing. Then you would expect a reversal on the price of Bitcoin, guys. And this is, you know, will surprise, of course, most of the people. Legends, thank you very much for joining today's live stream. Much love to everybody. Remember to claim those bonuses on weeks. You get 50% deposit bonus. It's a $1,000 cap. You get 25% fee reduction. And if you wish, you can sign up just with an email and a password. No VPN, no nothing, guys. Check out weeks down below. If you want that 25% fee reduction and the rest of the bonuses, it's in the second link down below. The levels have been mentioned on Bitcoin, guys. The different scenarios and levels that I am paying attention to. Thank you very much for joining today's live stream. We'll be back with more and levels and different scenarios for the price of Bitcoin tomorrow, guys. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.